No.
Hey, welcome everybody to Friday Night at the Crib, and it appears that I need to provide a different link. Try this one, Toxic. Hangouts has been a little bit finicky recently, and let me know if that one works. And just welcome everybody. Hope everybody's revolution is going well. And I guess I'll go ahead and introduce everybody. From left to right, the Holsch.
Howdy, everyone.
How's your raid going, Holsch?
It's going good so far.
Okay. Glad to hear it. And Magic Mike?
Happy raid, folks.
Okay, very nice. Grimace? Okay. And
Sorry. I'm here. What's up, everybody?
hey, Dr. Death.
Hello.
And this is Hefe, and we'll bring in the late joiners. Toxic.
G'day, everyone. How we doing?
Pretty good. And Ed Greywolf. Okay. How's everybody's? How's your raid going, Toxic?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. Thanks to the tokens from the TLC that they've brought out a couple of times. I've built my Hydra fleet, and I'll do the odd Hydra target when it's repaired. I repair it on slow repair, and I auto 81s with my Buccaneers. So yeah, I'm doing all right. I've got about 200,000 or something, 200 million points or whatever it is these days, billions.
Just the 81.
81s, 80, just the 80 sets.
Okay, I was just making sure. Okay, I was just making sure you weren't just hitting the one. Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm quite happy.
Okay, that's cool. And let me see. I don't know what Dr. Death's doing. I know what everybody else is doing, I think. Dr. Death, you're autoing 80s and had hit a few S sets.
Yeah, I did some S sets just to knock it out real fast and get me the Manticore. So I can go ahead and get those built. So now I've got the 4 Manticores built and ready to go for VXP weekend. And the rest of the raid, I'm just going to auto the A's at no cost just to get out the rest of the prizes.
Cool. Yeah, I've been hitting the Hydra campaign, and I've been autoing 80s. Even though I've made some changes to my bucks that I think tomorrow or later tonight I'll start hitting the Hydra campaign as well. I'm pretty sure that the build I've changed to is going to be able to do both. As we've discussed previously, the man special, I think we start learning that through other things, is basically trash. Because everybody was under the misunderstanding that the plus 100 critical meant it was plus 100 to the base of 100. And our current understanding is that it's plus 100 to a basis of 0. So you're not gaining anything in your critical hits. You're just gaining plus 10% critical damage is the way people have explained it. And after I got rid of it, I'm glad it's gone.
That I know what you're saying, but that for me, if I didn't know what you were saying, made absolutely no sense.
Okay. Normally, a critical hit will add plus 100% to your damage, so it'll double your damage. On the blueprint for the mass augmentation nexus, and everybody remembers the mass augmentation girl, but everybody would think that the plus 100 on critical damage would mean it would go from doubling your damage to tripling your damage, as opposed to plus 100 it would go to plus 200. that doesn't appear to be what's happening. So the other component, there's two other components to that special. One is plus 40% splash, and the other one is plus 10% critical chance. Now, plus 10% critical chance does add in inherently plus 10% damage. But that's not huge relative to some of the other potential specials that you could use. And so it's not really that good of a special at this point in time. So, okay. Is that you, Ed?
Yeah, I just was telling me my lunch time was over. Sorry about that.
Okay. You're going to suck something in my ear.
Just as it was starting to go, I got a phone call and it booted me off for a little bit.
Okay. But basically, that special provides plus, in reality, plus 40% splash and plus 10% critical chance. Now, if you had the opportunity to swap out the Nuke Accelerator 1 for Nuke Accelerator 2, and once you take that special off, you're able to do that, and you would account for that plus 40% splash at the same weight. The plus 10% critical is not all that huge. What I was able to do by taking that off is I was able to get a much better defense for my bucks by adding layered armor 3 and reflective coating 4, which is slightly heavier because of the layered armor 3 is slightly heavier than the MC3. I think it's like a 2% difference. So if you're built to the max, you may have an issue. And I took care of most of that by replacing one of my phased attack cannons with a sprint. If you're using the peak accelerator cannon, you're probably not going to have a weight issue. So I've seen a lot of improvement on the A sets doing that, and I think with the layered armor, it should be fairly well prepared to go in and take on the S sets. So that's what I've been doing. So I had some extra, tokens for the Buccaneers. So I think I still have a couple. So I didn't have enough to feel confident in putting Nuke Accelerator 2 on everything, but I may at this point because I think I still have like 2 left, and then I have some siege left. So I might do that in order to take advantage of that plus 40% splash. And again, this is untried in the S set targets, but it works much better in the A set targets than what I had before, because I've gone down from taking about 20 minutes of damage per target across my fleet, not just my boon, down to 6 to 8 minutes of damage. So it was fairly significant. So.
Oh no, it makes a significant difference. I just used my tokens and took your advice and changed over the Nuclear Accelerator 1, the Nuclear Accelerator 2 on just 3 of my bucks in my fleet. Mm-hmm. And it has taken me to where without retreat, I can now do an S target with just repairing my bucks boon each time. And I'm doing it for about 2 coins.
Okay.
And that's only changing 3 of the ships. I still got 2 ships running the old style. They don't have the Nuclear Accelerator 2 to give me back the splash. And of course, I had already switched everything over to Autoloader 2 from the Man Special.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing different. I don't have Autoloader 2 on mine. I've put reflective coating and layered. So now I have better armor than I did before. And I did not put in the auto reloader on mine. Yeah, I was too close on weight, and it's heavy.
It's a big trade-off, kind of either way. Like I had autoloader on my ships previous with the CL3 special, and then I switched to LA3 and reflective coating 4. I basically was taking the same amount of damage in the S targets. It was just taking me longer to kill stuff. So like they would survive longer, but it also took me longer to kill stuff. Can't auto with that. At least I can't yet. I don't have the phased attack cannon on my ships, so I have to retreat and replenish my charge. But doing that, I mean, the damage is pretty tolerable for the S sets. Excuse me. But yeah, it was a difference. It was kind of a trade-off. It's like you can take more damage, but you kill stuff slower.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need a phalanx with the frontline countermeasure on one of those ships?
You do want a phalanx or switchblade if you're going that route, yeah.
But do you need the frontline countermeasure?
I have a frontline countermeasure ship, yeah.
It wouldn't hurt on your CM ship, yeah. Either that or CM4.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm at that point, do I want to take that off or not? And I think the answer was no, but that's why I asked.
Okay. The other issue is, the one that me and Grims talked about yesterday was the fact that the new Hydra special that provides combat speed boost and shockwave damage and supercharge
garbage.
boost. It did do more damage, but for that type of target, it made the ships too fast.
Way too fast.
Yeah, it became very difficult, and if you have any lag on your computer or your connection or whatnot, it made it very difficult to edge up to targets.
Let me say this, though. It might make a difference if you were autoing, which I can't seem to do with my Hydras. But if you were autoing, it might be beneficial. But if you're trying to actually drive it and be skillful, it definitely does not help, especially when you start getting lag and your ships are jerking around. It's just a bear to drive them.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the player and the connection that they have in their computer and their latency from KIXEYE and things of that nature. So I could see probably when they were testing it in-house, they're like, oh, this rocks. This is a cool special. But once in reality and you're, thousands of miles away and all sorts of jumps away from them, it doesn't work quite as well because of, just it becomes a very fast ship at this point, or it seems to be, and you just end up taking more damage by running into the blunderbusses trying to navigate around it.
Right.
So, yeah, Corey and the Borg are doing fine with the special, and they probably have good connections and whatnot, and that's why I threw that caveat out there that if you have a very good connections and you don't have to deal with lag, it's probably an excellent special for them.
Are they driving or autoing?
I don't know. I'm assuming they're driving. I don't know though. So
I mean, you can drive it. It's just I like driving them a lot better without it. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you get any hiccups, you're in that blunderbuss range. But yeah, it's at the end of the day, like Loretta says, it's easier to just auto 80s. I mean, it's laborious, but it's as long as you have the right setup, it's not bad. I'm gonna start. Go ahead.
My Hydras will not auto anything. They turn circles, they dance, they do everything but drive together.
Mm-hmm.
And they're built very similarly, all of them. So I don't understand why some of them don't. And I put in tickets the last 2 raids for the same exact thing. They give me 30 coins and they go, it's just, you don't need to auto basically. And it's like, well, why have the feature in the game if we can't auto? Like, what's the point? But some people are autoing with them, which I don't understand. Like, what's wrong with my build that makes it not auto?
I don't know. I have not been trying to, and especially considering like the new phone app only allows you to auto targets and things of that nature. I mean, you think that they would get some of this taken care of, because I've seized up on the 81 where I'm trying to auto it, and it still gets stuck in that same place in the right hand side of the 81. And I've been having that happen to me quite consistently. And it just seems like it's something they need to take care of if, you know, they're driving the game in that direction, if they need to correct those things and not tell us that we're idiots for trying to auto targets.
So I think Mike came up with the idea of splitting the Hydras up into, like, basically take one ship and auto 60s, and it works great until your ship gets stuck. And I had 4 of my Hydras get stuck in 61s all at the same time. And I mean, it killed them in, I mean, very short order, which sounds crazy, but it did. Like, they were dead. Not really sure what killed them, but all 4 of them died almost, I mean, immediately. In a 61. But I think if he's here, I think he was doing that for a while and not having any issues.
Am I the he?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a couple I didn't run any of them with full fleets, though. I sent one Hydra into 4 different, because I have one Hydra that's a countermeasure ship. So the 4 with weapons, I sent all in different 60 targets and just let them go. And they come out with just 10, 15 seconds of damage.
Yeah, I did several in a row like that, because we were, Mike and I were talking. I did several in a row like that, and then all of a sudden, 4 of them all of them just killed in 61s.
Yeah, and today I had one. It only happened to me once, and today one of them came back dead. So I wasn't sure what.
I mean, you have got that same. You go, Doc.
Go ahead, Toxic.
Well, you got the same problem in the 80s. It didn't happen at all to me last raid, but it's been happening quite a bit this raid. So I don't know if there's something, I don't know, intermittently or whatnot. Because I did not have, not one of my fleets died last raid, but this raid they do. Like every 7th or 8th one of them will die, or the fleet will die, come back dead.
Well, the only time I've had my fleet die once, and it was really weird. I sent in a ticket to Kickside. It was right at the start of the raid, in the first hour of the raid. I went into my first buck target. I hit the down arrow on my fleet, stopped it. So every ship's sitting there, not even close to being in range of anything, while I'm sitting there studying the target. And I start scrolling across the map, study the target, and the next thing I know, it kicks me out, says defeated, and my whole fleet's dead.
Wow.
I was like, well, this is bullshit. My first target, and I'm dead, and I haven't even killed a single thing.
Yeah, I would have been upset about that one for sure.
But I was just studying the thing. I was in the target for almost 5 minutes, zoomed in close, looking at each of the turrets, trying to figure out the strategy on how I wanted to hit it. You know what I mean? And the next thing I know, I just died.
Well, I mean, we've known since this whole thing started, there's the bugs in the 63, there's the bugs in the 83 that'll just instantly kill your whole fleet. And they keep saying, oh, you get in range of the blunderbuss. I've watched it when it happened, and unfortunately I was not recording, but literally nothing was in range. Like you're saying, nothing was in range. And I was still driving towards the turrets, and the fleet just sunk.
Yep, just vanishes.
And it they keep saying, well, you get in the range and it shoots. And no, was not in range. And it happens on that, like the 83, it's that corner kind of like in the middle of the target as you're coming up to the corner, like of the platform or the land or whatever it is right there. And you're coming up on all the turrets and it'll just go right to the bottom.
Yeah.
But
I think they got some random thing in there that says this guy's had enough.
Working as intended. That's all you can say. Like,
more or less,
it's still going on, and you know they haven't fixed it.
Yep.
Anyway,
you must have damage. In this case, you must die.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's like that. I think it's just a bug that they, for whatever reason, are not inclined to fix, or I don't know. I don't really know why. I don't think it's like, oh, we're gonna make them take damage. But
no. You know what? The code is so old, and they've added so much stuff into this game. I think it's just a random thing where if the circumstances just hit right, for whatever reason, the game says your fleet's dead and you die. You know what I mean? But it's a random thing. There's a glitch somewhere in the code that's making this happen randomly in different targets. It doesn't even have to be the same fleet. It doesn't have to be the same target. It's just a random thing that's happening. I've seen it more than once in more than one target. I told my buddy he could take ironclads into the freaking A set and just auto them things all day, or not the A set, but the C set, the 40s, and auto them all day long. And he went into a C set, and before he had even ships started moving, the timer went from 1 to 0 and his fleet blew up.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. There's some wacky stuff that goes on, but
so I think it's just the code is so old. There's just a random thing in there, and it would probably cost them so much freaking money to track it down that they've decided, because it's so random, they'd rather just respond to people's tickets, than actually try and fix it.
Yeah, they just give out some coin.
That makes sense, actually.
Move along.
Yeah, no, I agree, because I had this conversation once before with, I just don't know where and when now, but if you order something, then that means that the ships will come in at the same spot. They will start the same way. They will take the same way, take the same damage. Everything will be exactly the same. So there can't be a variation in something that's totally programmed.
Oh, there's a huge variation.
It must be. Well, not if you order. There can't be 10 different ways.
Shouldn't be.
The pack cannon blast is that and critical hits.
Yeah,
but
so
they should all occur at the same time. Like that, your mods will.
But those are random occurrences, and so you may kill more things or less things each time. So it drives a little bit differently. There is definitely variation in it.
So it changes the route based on blasts and things like that?
Yeah, so it may take longer for you to kill something, so then a drone comes by and drops a buoy, where maybe if you had a bunch of crits on the previous one, it didn't have time to drop the buoy.
Got it.
It's going to be different.
Or you killed a target before this happened and you weren't in that location. Yeah, there's a lot of randomness, mainly due to the critical hits and the overloads.
And you got to remember that the code for the auto on our ships isn't based off a path. It's based off of whatever is closest to the outside range of our weapons.
Exactly. which is why it's crap that my fleet will not auto, because 1 or 2 ships are dancing around. They should all be going to that closest target. And it's not one of those situations where, oh, there's something on this side and that side that's equidistant, and it starts heading one way and then it's like, oh, wait, this one's closer, and turns around. It's not that. They will just physically dance around like they're looking for, I don't know what, like random targets somewhere, invisible targets. In fact, I'm gonna try to record one here and show you what I'm talking about, just so we're all on the same page.
Yeah, mine does.
Yeah. Title it "Grimace's Dancing Hydras." Yes. So, we've seen some of these issues with the raid, and But all in all, it seems to be working well for most of us. Besides, I mean, the points seem achievable and things of that nature. What is everybody's plan to do with the prizes? What are they doing right now, as far as building Manticores or executioners or whatnot? Is there a game plan that anybody has as far as how they're moving forward?
Well, now I wanted to ask the panel about that, because this is where I'm caught up at, and I'm a little bit concerned. I've got 4 Manticores built. All of them are built. All of them have an engine on them, and that's about as far as I've gone with them, because that post kicks I put up where it said that if you redeem the Manticore, you'll be able to get into that special TLC to get the missile weapons. Now, is that going to mean that you have to have a built Manticore to do the TLC, or does that mean you just have to redeem it and then we can use other fleets to do the TLC?
Yeah, well, Grimace trumped you with his, he's showing how his Hydras are acting. So,
sorry,
they're dancing around.
Yes. I don't know. I mean, because we did have to use, didn't we have to use the, in the skirmish style raid, didn't we have to use the current ones in order to, how did that work as far as, was it the Fangtooth to win the hunters?
We used to win the hunters.
Yeah.
And see, that's why I'm asking, if that's the case, then we have to build these as the Blitz whole, use them to win the skill weapons, and then do a complete refit?
Well, before you were able to do the, at that point, you were able to use the Phoenix, or, no, I'm sorry, you were able to use your older stuff. You were able to use, you were able to use the previous generation at that point, but I don't know what's going on. But a lot of times they'll use the previous raid cycle. So it would have been nice if they added that word in there at some point as, siege or assault, so people had a better understanding of what to prepare for. My bigger question as far as how far to build these deals with VXP weekend. And we've seen that everybody's used to the siege targets at this point, which don't provide any VXP except for dying. And now the assault has live ships. So you might find more benefit of equipping your ships and getting VXP from damage done, as opposed to, providing the quickest ship to repair after it dies.
Well, no, I do agree. I agree with you, Hefe, because every time they've changed the cycle, they've changed the VXP. Remember back at Skirmish, when we first started the Skirmish raid cycle, we took and got that Skirmish VXP target the very first month of that cycle. And then when we started Siege, we got the Siege the very first. The only difference I'm seeing, the only thing I'm concerned about here is really they need to make a generic VXP target, because it locks everything else out. You got one style of ship that can hit the target and actually kill things and get VXP that way, and everything else has to suicide, no matter if you got armor on it or not.
Well, they did have the generic one, the skirmish one, that lasted longer. It didn't provide the same benefits, but they did have that skirmish one that's been running for a period of time. I don't know if they're planning to change it at this point or not, but that would be.
If I may.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, that's not completely true. I mean, okay, the top 100 target that's only there for the first 36 hours, it's only for the type of the upcoming raid. But you have all those unidentifiable fleets on map. So last month on the XP weekend, I was hitting a bunch of those with Assaulty Dogs to rank other classes and getting a lot of the XP out of them. So it's not true that you can't rank any other classes. You just can't rank them on the 100.
No, I wasn't the one that said that. But
no, I know. I'm just addressing what the other guys said.
Yeah, I'm talking about the top target, because how long did it take you to skull up the other classes using the unidentifieds?
Was actually a lot faster than I thought. I was like, for the duration of one Salty Crew, I got a shitload of VXP, and I didn't have to suicide the fleets at all. They took very little damage, so it was actually cheaper in the sense I didn't have to coin repair or wait for repair, and I got a lot of VXP.
But how long did it take to skull?
The duration of a Salty Dog crew. I didn't need to school from scratch. I was like at 40, 60%, whatever. I got to 75 by doing that.
Now, I'm talking about taking a bare hole and taking it to skull on unidentifieds. I'm curious how long that
I know what you're talking about. I understand the trade-off. Only focus on that one top target, and VXP Weekend is a lot more than that. That's all.
Oh, I agree with you on that completely, Ren. It's just, you know, from my perspective, I'm a coiner, and I don't want to put in all that seat time to rank my ships. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, if they would put out a generic target to where I could take any ship in, do some damage, maybe die, it didn't matter, but get more VXP because I was able to do some damage in there, then that would make me a happy man. I'd coin every one of my ships that needed, you know, skulled, which I've only got a couple, but still, that's beside the point.
And going back one question, I mean, did you guys, I don't know, did you see what I wrote on the YouTube chat there about the TLC for the missile and the CIC for the Manticore?
No.
I wrote there that, you know, I don't believe you won't need the Manticore to do the TLC. You will need the Manticore blueprint to engage in the TLC, because the TLC will not offer the Manticore blueprint, and if you don't have the blueprint, it won't let you fight and get the components.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was saying. But do you need to have a Phoenix or Skyfire, or
no? I think it's going to be a
Hydra. Or do you need to have a siege one? Yeah, that's the question that I was trying to pose.
I believe, I don't have confirmation from Kixeye. I'm just saying I believe it's going to be a siege TLC, as it has been every time when we transition, right? It's always kind of a continuation of this raid cycle to get the price for the next one. So it should be a siege TLC. You need Bucky or Hydra, and you need to own the Manticore blueprint. So that's important to know, because people who don't want to build the scattergun version or are not sure what they're going to build, at the very least, they got to redeem the Manticore now, so they have the blueprint, so they can do the TLC.
Yeah, but that's what I brought up. I brought up the exception, which was you need to have the Fangtooth to win the Hunters, or was the Hunters to win the Fangtooth? Because I do recall that was an issue at one point.
Yeah, but that was a problem. But Reagan did away with that.
Okay, because you know that's why I was bringing up that exception. Yeah, because it makes much more sense to use the previous raid cycle, and that, you know, that's the point I was trying to make.
So the way it should work is if you can do either the Hydra Elite or the Bucky Elite, meaning you have a full fleet of one or the other, you should be able to get the missile components for the Manticore. So you can build the quote-unquote skill version of the Manticore and not the autopilot with the scattergun.
Mm-hmm. So, Ren, are you planning to build 2 fleets? I'm thinking I'm supposed to build 2 fleets.
Here's the thing: I don't have to. I mean, I'm going to invest in the scattergun, but I think just because of the videos I do and stuff, I'll end up building both, just to compare. Yeah. But my priority is to have the scattergun version, because that one you don't need to worry about driving and finesse and good connection and no lag and all the if, right? You can just point and click and go and have a more or less predictable cost.
Yeah. I mean, you know, how that's going to work on TLCs eventually and things of that nature, we don't know. But currently my plan is to build both of them. Unless they do something really weird with things that we need to build in the future, it seems to make the most sense. And the only part that gets tricky for me is if they introduce, or when they introduce, a flagship. Am I going to be able to use that flagship on both? If they only allow you to own one, that's when it gets tricky, and that's the part that gave me a little trepidation as far as the path forward.
Back, because they're going into, let's say, quote unquote, uncharted water, changing from 2 hulls to 1. So by nature, they should let us have 2 flagships. I mean, 2 of the same flagship.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, which I don't think would be the first time, because I think the Fangtooth we could have 2 Phantom Fangs. No, that was the Gluttony. Never mind.
The Gluttony. There's a couple of them, and you can have 2 Frosties. There's a couple where you can have 2. Yeah.
Well, maybe they're just doing it by the CICs. Just give you a different flagship CIC.
Well, but still they gotta let you build 2 of the same flagship, 2 Manticore flagships, one with one CIC, one with the other. If you wanna have 2 complete fleets, that's what Hef is saying, and I agree.
Yeah, because at that point it becomes, that's the tricky part. Yeah, and that's the part, like, normally they don't do that, and a lot of times I think they do it accidentally when they do it, but yeah, all good.
I got that video if you want to see what they do.
Okay. I will isolate on you, Grimace, so everybody can see Grimace's Dancing Hydras Part 2.
So
the first one.
I did an 85 because I knew I wasn't going to take a lot of damage or anything, but this is the kind of stuff that they do, and if you tried that in the camp, like, your fleet would be really hurting. So this is on full auto. I'm not touching anything. And you see the back 2 start kind of dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And those have full launchers on them, no countermeasures. The other ships have countermeasures on them, so I don't know if that's making the difference.
And you didn't go with the Switchblades, which also have the missiles. You're going with Phalanxes and Sprints. Correct. Yeah.
So you see, they turn around, they go backwards. Like,
mine do that too.
I don't know what they're doing.
The Elite, if I press S, the 1 or 2 of them will start doing pirouettes and circling around and going the other way.
Yeah, so in an 85 with my fleet, it doesn't hurt. I mean, I can auto the A sets all day long, as long as they don't get stuck, obviously. But you know, if you tried to do any of that kind of autoing with my fleet in the camp, it's not going to end well.
No, it doesn't bother me much because the Hydra is not supposed to be auto, but it's totally weird why it does that. I think it's because of the big donut it has. That's probably what it is, but even that doesn't make any sense.
No, because it should be going to the next closest target, and that would be at range. In every instance here, it's always at range. Nothing ever dropped inside the circle.
Yeah, but here's one thing I like to do. I don't know if I'm going to do that. Probably not, but I like to put 1 weapon without a minimum range on each ship and see if it stops dancing.
Yeah, that's what was suggested to me. Actually, go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was just saying, I tried it with a Squall launcher, and it didn't seem to make much difference. They still did some pirouettes.
Okay.
But go ahead and...
Is there any chance, Grimace,
what?
Yeah, is there any chance you put the Wallflower CIC on the on a few of your Hydras? They're just shy and they want to, they don't want to be a center of attention.
That's my shoegaze ships.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, just checking.
And just I put that launcher on there just in case they dropped a buoy in the donut ring, and forget about it. There's not enough power to get rid of them anyway, so got rid of it.
Okay.
That was the rationale for putting it on, actually, in the first place. So.
Okay. Is there anything else interesting as far as the prizes besides the next is the Manticore, the next Assault Hall for the next raid cycle? Because we have other things that are out there. The Executioners,
that's
well, you
that's
might
what
want to get
about.
the Savage Kodiak if you don't have it for the.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Savage Kodiak is. I've been looking for that for a year or two, and this is the first time it's come up.
For FM in mind, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm getting all the little bits and pieces that I haven't got. Like you got all sorts of stuff that was out on the Tech Up TLCs and whatnot. I'm getting all that stuff, everything.
Okay, guys. Can I jump in
Yeah.
here for just a second?
Yeah, jump on in, Doc.
All right. I took and had so many freaking Hydra tokens that I just made a quick change to my fleet. And I put one countermeasure on each ship. So I've now got a countermeasure on every single ship in the fleet. And guess what? They're staying together just like the Bucks do.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like, you know, the other ships all had countermeasures and they drive just fine. And then the two that just had launchers are the ones that dance. So I was curious if that's what was going on. It doesn't make any sense why.
No, it don't make any sense why, but that is what's going on because I was having the same problem. And when you pointed that out, I said, okay, wait a second. You know, because I got 30 freaking tokens for these Hydras that I haven't used. So I went ahead and threw a one countermeasure on my other two, on my back two that were just my, punch. Right. You know what I mean? And it changed it. They're now all driving together in a fleet.
Cool. Well, good to know. So the non-auto fleet is back to the auto fleet. Kind of.
Yep.
Ooh, Scooby snacks. Cuttlefish has handed out Scooby snacks.
All right.
Oh, I want Scooby snacks.
I want Shaggy snacks.
Well, Shaggy always ate the Scooby snacks too.
Yeah, because he had already had Shaggy snacks. And then he was hungry for the Scooby snacks.
Has anybody noticed the last half a day that the S targets have gotten more difficult?
No.
On auto?
No.
Because I had one instance where I still had a third of my boon, and after it ran through and came out, I had two of my bucks that had probably 20% left on them, and everything else was dead.
No, you ran into that random bug, probably.
Yeah, it could be. But I've been just kind of keeping track somewhat. I've been kind of autoing them all day, letting them hit 3 or 4 and then let them repair. And while I'm at work, and just letting them auto without really paying attention to that, and then saving my crews. So, I might get 2, I might get 3, and then I'll send my boon back, or send them all back and repair my boon, just through time instead of coining it, and then save my crews for when I'm at home and able to use, take advantage of the time that the crew is on.
I mean, again, that kind of comes down to the random nature of the way the Buckies are designed. You're depending a lot of times on the procs from your weapons, and crits and things of that nature, and it changes the way you hit the target every single time. So that may be where that variation came in, and you just took a lot more damage.
Yeah, that's possible.
That's one thing I really don't like about the Buckies is how dependent they are on the procs. At least with my build. All right, I guess Hefe
I'll get home and I can do it on the computer.
Build again. Any other things you guys are noticing in Raid? Good, bad?
Nothing here.
I'm glad to see.
I've just been autoing the A sets all day, and so far I haven't come to any crashes or anything like that where the fleet dies, so it's been good.
Right on. Ed?
I'm glad to see that we got to see that they're giving assault tokens outside of the normal ship build tokens, so that we have an option of getting more ships ready for getting them ranked than just being stuck with only the build tokens. But now we can also do the assault specifically.
Have you noticed that you can only stack 2 of those at a time?
They got smart.
So yeah, you pretty much have to use them as you go.
So that's what I've been doing. I've been doing. I get 2 of them, and I got 2 done with just a thud 1 on it, and then I have. I think I started my 3rd one, and I got a couple hours left on it outside of the tokens to build. I think about 9 o'clock tonight I'll have the 3rd one finished.
Right on.
And I'll just save the hour tokens for later.
I haven't even started purchasing anything. I've just been getting points.
The other thing I noticed too is that they have Skyfire tokens for those that maybe cannot get the Manticore but have the Skyfires to be able to work on their fleets or finish their fleets is an option that I noticed.
Yeah, and I would recommend that option for anybody, for the lower and mid-level players whose Skyfire fleet is not done or don't have it, and you can't get to the points to get the Manticore. Grab those tokens and get your Skyfire fleet together so that you can at least hit the small targets next raid.
And on top of that, even if you got the Manticore, if you use that to top off your Skyfires to have a secondary fleet just in case.
But there's lots of good tokens. You got the Hope for sale, which is a good base defender. You've got 5 one-day Hope tokens, which is enough to do a Scud and the plain hull. So there's lots of good things in there. You just gotta scroll around and search around of what you need. I'm sure you'll find it.
Anybody really taking a look at that Poseidon's Mauler, or have you built one yet?
No.
I've heard it's pretty good. I've not seen it in action, but I've heard it's pretty good.
I actually saw a hit with one, but I didn't see it doing a whole lot. But
the Mauler, you're talking about the Flagship?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit, you gotta be careful with it, because if you see some bases already with 4 executioners, 2 halos, and fire support and stuff, they can bring down that Mauler pretty fast. It doesn't have enough pen deflection against the top executioner setup.
So that was the thing I for whatever reason missed the other day when everyone was talking about the ship, was the fact that the bonuses that it gives to the other ships are restricted to a 75 range. So it has to drive with the other hitters to get the bonuses, or for them to get the bonuses. And like, I was assuming it was, just inherent. You had it in the fleet, you could park it in the corner, drive your other ships, and that's not the case.
No. Yeah, you're right.
So I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like it as much now. I mean, yeah, it's still going to hit a lot of bases, but...
Oh, yeah. I mean, most people don't have 4 executioners and 2 halos.
Right.
Because I think only about maybe 1,000, 2,000 players got enough points for 2 halos. So that leaves the majority with either 1 or none.
Right.
But, and still, if you drive it right, and by that I mean if you tank with the MSC, it's okay. It just like the Mauler cannot be the tank, just as the Onslaught cannot be the tank.
Yep.
It's funny. It's ironic that the longest range one has to be the tank.
Yep. But it's the only one that can actually shrug off the damage dealt by a top setup with Executioner and Halo.
Yeah, apparently there's already some sailing the seas because I saw a couple of hits this morning.
Yeah, Alpha Wolf has one, Ford from TFC, and Liam has one. I mean, just the shell. I don't think they're ranked or anything like that.
Oh no, the one of the ones I saw was fully ranked and everything. It was.
Yeah, they probably have a lot of stored Conqueror EXP tokens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Yeah, to go check on somebody. But we haven't seen them. Did you say you saw them the Poseidon's Mauler in action, or you just saw it in the water?
Yeah, no, in action.
Okay, I did. I guess you already went through that. How did it do?
The one that was fully ranked and everything. I mean, I don't know what the build was on it and everything, but it was, the fleet was defeated. It didn't make it all the way through the base.
Okay.
So it wasn't like an I win button where you just click the back of the base. You know, you actually have to think about how you're driving it and what you're going up against.
And gotta drive carefully, right? It can't be leading the charge as we were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't just, you know, with a top-notch base, you're not just going to click the back of the base.
Okay. Well, especially with the guard fleets, you know. But actually, no. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's just going to take careful driving. You know, You're going to have to know what you're going up against.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is good. I mean.
Well, and another question.
Sure. Go ahead.
I was going to say on another topic that anti turret is. I would assume that it would be a good idea to get a couple of those just because, even though it's not working properly right now, that later on maybe it will.
I think that's by design.
Yeah, it's working as intended.
Yeah, I think it's the elite countermeasure is what you're referring to, right? Or are you talking about the Night Watchman?
I think turret? It's the elite countermeasure one.
Both?
Yeah. The turret. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We talked about it previously on some of the shows, and it appears that the way it works is there's a delay before anything can be fired at, and with really high projectile speeds, it'll make it there. And there's ways to overcome it by putting things to slow down the projectiles. Omni Behemoth does a good job at that. Kinetic Buffer does a good job at that. But on the other side, you also need to speed up your projectile on the other side. And the heavy ballistic shells, if you're using the turret, do a good job at that. But you also need to incorporate splash into that turret. It doesn't work great, but it will work against missiles. Okay. But it's not. I don't know if 30-day build, that's then reduced with base parts. I don't know. It really depends on the state of your base, whether it's a good idea for you personally or not. I wouldn't go out and claim all 5 because they're not performing that well. Unless you're a player that's going to coin them all and get them all in place, and maybe 5 would work better than 2 or 3. But it requires some building, and it requires, like I said, lowering their projectile speed. There's a 190 range for the Omni Behemoth that I think reduces them by 50%, if I'm correct. And then depending on where you place the kinetic buffer, it's a 70% reduction for 90 range, which is a little tricky because I think the ship needs to get in range. Or you could put it into the on the outpost, which emanates a 30% reduction across the entire map. But it is a. Go ahead.
I think you're going to say what I was about to ask about the duplicate aura cap. Was that what you were about to say?
I don't know. I mean, because it has a duplicate aura cap of 1, and I don't know if you have one on your outpost. It was discussed a while ago, but I do forget. If you it has a duplicate aura cap of 1, which one overcomes the other? If you have one on your outpost and then you have one on maybe a warehouse.
I mean,
was that the question?
Because I mean, it's the same deal for like Fire Support 1, Fire Support 2. The higher one takes effect, right?
Yeah, but they break the rules all the fucking time. I mean, we saw this with because they came out with what's going on with the couple people confirmed that if you have halos, you know, the tier 7 turret bonuses, even if that turret is dead, you still get that bonus. But things like if you lose fire support, if you lose splash suppression, those things go away as far as we know when whatever is emanating them dies. So yeah, the rules aren't consistent. It'd be nice if they were, but yeah, I don't know. But you know, as far as the takeaway that's positive or usable out of that is, from what we've heard, if you have, let's say you have 2 halos and 4 executioners, if you put some of them at the front of your base as part of your bubble pad, you will still retain that plus 25 bonus per turret, even if it's killed.
We have heard that?
We have, yes, it is.
Yeah.
So you can put
that's official, and as usual, they didn't do a great job communicating, but the reason for that, and the reason, quote unquote, that doesn't break the rules, if you read the fine print, is like you read fire support. Go on your base, take a look at a warehouse with fire support, open like the equip screen, and you read, when you read the stats on the fire support, it says duplicate aura cap 5. The keyword being aura. Okay, so when that building dies, the aura emitter goes away and you lose the aura, right? You lose the effect. You don't have the bonus anymore.
Right.
If you go on a turret and equip turret and you read the blueprint, let's say of a halo or an executioner, the word aura isn't there anywhere. The word is just bonus group. Tier 7 penetrative, duplicate bonus group cap 8. It's not an aura, it's a bonus.
Correct. And that's the way I felt about it by reading it. I just didn't know if someone in the know has actually said, yes, that's the way it works.
Yeah, because forum guy, mod, admin, whatever, actually said the bonus doesn't go away, and that's been confirmed by Kickside that the bonus doesn't go away when the turret dies.
And it's been confirmed by someone other than a mod, because no offense to our mods that watch.
No, I know what you're saying, but yeah, it's reliable.
Okay.
It's reliable. Whatever comes from Kickside, it's reliable.
I'm just checking because you know what we deal with sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. GDR was sourced in some of these as the source of the quote. So, you know. I wish he would brand his ships like we knew which ships were his and which CICs were his, because you know, like I've said before, like the bus had staying power. Some of the ones, you know, like if he puts a brand on it and says this is GDA approved, you know to build it or deal with it. The rest of them are a little.
No. You just had GDA.
Walmart brand, you know,
give the other designers
sort of great value or whatever.
What you're saying, Hefe, is like the great paintings by Picasso and all them. They have a little signature at the bottom, and that's what you want on the ship, on the front of the hull, the signature of the person who designed it.
Yeah. If he wanted to put flames on all of his everything, I'm cool with that. As far as learning from that, that would be very cool. But you know, just understanding what's like. here for a while or here for a couple of days. And most of the stuff that he's put together that he's gotten on shows and talked about tends to be here for a while. I still don't understand, and it's a little scary at this point, why potentially somebody would need to have 5 buses, considering I consider that one of the GDR branded hulls. And now we're able to get 5 of them.
They took and put out an amendment on that. Laredo put out an attachment amendment on that, stating that you can only have 1 bus.
But you can claim funny. 5 of them.
No, they fixed it.
Yeah, you can only claim 1.
But I think Laredo also said in chat at some point that you could own 5. I don't,
No, you can't.
If you're still out there, Laredo. No, I think he said it in
yeah, he said
TFC
it.
Show.
Yeah, he did say that it was legit, but it's not.
Yeah, I think he said it in the YouTube chat.
But I'm sure he's working with the information that he's given to. So
No, I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying that we had some sort of confirmation on it one way, then down another, and then back.
Yeah.
Back again.
Yeah, no, they changed it. If you look in the prizes or whatever, if you already have one, you can't redeem anymore.
No, okay. Oh well. So
you wanted to build 5 buses, didn't you, Hefe?
No, I wasn't planning to do it. I was just trying to figure out how you were going to use 5 buses.
He wants to start a public transit company.
Yeah. I mean, I think in certain communities, if you started a bus, a bus system, they all had flames down the sides of them. The kids would be much more likely to. Oh, I don't mind driving the bus. Getting on the bus. It's got flames down the side and whatnot. I mean, there's possibilities behind it, and I was just trying to figure out. I mean, I could see potential uses for 2, but not for 5. But okay, I haven't kept up with the news. The fact that it's been reduced back down to 1. So okay, it makes sense now.
I managed to get a hold of and make a short. Well, it's not a short. Make a video of the Mauler in a base hit. It's kind of boring, but it did pretty good. If you want to see it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay. If you want to throw it on, I'll. Is it you hitting your? Is it
no?
You with it or
no? It's my buddy.
Okay.
It's a friend of mine's playback that I recorded.
Okay, go ahead.
And you can say when to stop because it is a little boring.
No. We can talk over it, and I can take you off and vice.
There you go. Okay.
But go ahead. Okay.
Oh, I have to share a screen, don't
I? Yeah, and Mario was talking about the buses in Panama, in Iraq are just crazy. They're painted up and they got tassels on them. It's fascinating. And they're from the 60s, but they're still driving them around, and at least in the 90s they were. But yeah, that was.
You need to go on YouTube and look at the buses they're designing over in Japan that got all the LEDs and lights, and they got different design. They got one bus that they've designed like a dragon and shoots flames out the front. They got crazy stuff going on this.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mike. I think they still. I have you on isolate. So.
Okay. Well, they're just.
Okay, there you go.
I'm seeing it on the YouTube. On the other computer, it's
on the YouTube.
Yeah, it's behind about 10, 15 seconds. But this guy's driving everything in there stacked, and he's just driving to the back of the base. And I tried to follow it. I just didn't want to put information out that shouldn't be out. But there's one in that bunch, and it's got 5-star rank on it, or 5 stars ranking.
What's happening, George?
What's up, guys?
Hey, George. Hey, Ram.
Hey, guys.
What's up, Ram?
Not much.
George!
What are we talking about tonight?
See, they're all stacks.
Oh, we were talking earlier about your new 1900 gig, but yeah, you've given up on that. Your 1900 gig.
Oh.
Okay, so
you remember back in the day.
So did the flag just die, or was it one of
No, the flag's still there.
Flag's still.
So it was a missile cruiser that died.
Looked like it.
I believe so.
Looked like an onslaught, didn't it? There was only one onslaught in there.
There's
They're all
two
stacks.
onslaughts, I think, left, and the Mauler.
Yeah, it looked like a missile cruiser.
Yeah,
which is
probably.
odd.
Well, they probably didn't have any of the missiles on them, so it died from the explosive damage. Since the Hope has a lot higher explosive damage than anything else.
So right now he's just taking whatever's good.
Is the flag? The flag's still in there, isn't it? Or did it die too? It's dead too. There's only there. It looks like 3 onslaughts.
It's dead. You don't see the hammerhead shape.
The Mauler's still in there.
Can you back? No, are you sure?
Mm-hmm. You'll see it in a minute.
Oh yeah, I guess it is. It's on the far right now.
Yeah, see the 5 stars right there next to the.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It looked bigger when it drove up, didn't it? It looked wider.
That's what she said.
When it's text, you can see it. Oh, there it is. It's a tiny hammerhead.
Mm-hmm. That's what she's. Never mind. George, how's your raid going?
I haven't actually. I've gotten to play for about an hour and a half last night.
Whoa.
Slacker. No.
Tell us, how did
Does that mean you already have 5 million Brazilian points?
I have I think I have 190, 200, something like that.
I mean, with your hacks and all, because everybody says you're a hacker, right?
Yep. I'm a super duper hacker.
How
Hey, George, have you noticed a difference with those charged armors?
I did, because I didn't have a lot of time. I threw on. I ran a couple of them, and I ran a couple Hydras, trying to tune the Hydras a little bit and didn't get a chance to play with them too much. But I decided to throw a demo on the Bucks and just run them like last time, and I did 20 targets for 4 coins, I think. Yeah, 20 targets for 4 coins, and then slow repaired.
Sorry, I missed part of that. Was that on full auto or were you driving?
Oh, full auto. Fuck driving.
Cool.
I'm not even driving the Hydras.
Okay, so on the Buckies you did what?
I put a demo squad on it and ran them. I ran 20 targets for 4 coins. I had to put 2 coins on after the 8th one, and then 2 coins after the 14th, and then I just slow repaired at 20.
With your old build, you didn't swap out any of the charge for the duels?
No, I did. There's I think 2 of them had a full swap over, and then the other ones were all partials. I had time. I didn't have enough time. I was actually kind of hoping that they had the tokens in the raid. I was relying on that to finish them.
Right.
But alas.
Did you notice the difference between the ones that had the duels and ones that didn't?
I'm trying to think, because the ones that had all 4 of them changed over, I have all 4 and I have 2, but it's hard to tell without the taking the Bucky out. I mean, I could try that later on tonight, right. To see.
Because I have a couple of them that have 1 or 2 on it, and I haven't really noticed. But like you said, that was before I took when I went in with a full fleet. I tried it, and I think it was just ship placement that made a difference as to who had more damage and not, because it didn't seem to be the ones that had the dual charge versus the ones that didn't. Being that I had 2 different ones, I didn't see a difference between them.
Well, with the way that the charge goes in that target, I mean, all the resistance that you can add is a benefit.
Right. Well, but you also you lose charge quantity, don't charged.
Well,
it's like instead of 15,000, it's what, 3?
Yeah, but if you auto, you're gonna run out of the charge anyway, and you actually kind of run out at about the same time. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if they have that whatever the hell they use in the next raid already in this raid. But I did notice that the Buccaneer targets are very heavily weighted towards resistance builds.
Yeah, I was noticing the same thing.
Has anybody gotten a chance to play with the Hydra stuff? Because I have not. I ran a couple of them. I ran like 3 or 4 targets twice.
Hey,
And I
Trey.
got, what'd you say? Was that Ren?
Yeah, I think he was talking to somebody in the background.
Hefe, you can unlock off me if you want.
I personally drive. I have to drive them. Like we kind of talked last night. I have to drive mine. And I just showed a video a little while ago of how they work, and we kind of figured out why they do that. You actually offered me an opinion on what you thought would fix it too, but we found out that doesn't work. So
I swapped over. You got to have a 1 countermeasure on each ship to get them to run together as a pack in auto.
No, you don't.
So I played my video a little while ago. The 2 ships that had no countermeasures on them, they dance around. Mike added squall launchers, which have 0
Not launchers,
range.
just on 1.
So it's not the insurrection that you suggested, but it was the squalls, and those don't help.
If you have one of any weapon on every single ship, it'll do it. Because I actually switched over to the hell is this thing called? Hold on a second, because I was testing something on this. I switched over to the concussive Gatling gun, 1 on each ship, and they all stayed grouped together. They actually stayed grouped together better with that one than the insurrection launcher.
Yeah, so there's something weird going on. Anyway, I haven't been able to auto so far, so I drive the Hydra target, and I mean, I've got it down to like 3 minutes, upwards of like 12 minutes per run. So I'm doing pretty good.
That's on the flag.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel it's pretty good for me. I still have some tokens. I could do some more refits. I do know where I could make a few improvements. One of those being that I need to add something on there so they could auto.
See, George, I went the same route he did, and I was having the same problem he was, because I had the countermeasure ship, then I had a couple ships that didn't have any countermeasures on them at all. The weapons are all the same across the fleet, and they're all the launcher or thrower or whatever it is. But I took the tokens and I put a phalanx 4 on 2 of them, and I put a sprint on 2 of them. Right? So now every ship has 1 countermeasure on it. And boom, they started autoing and staying together as a pack.
I know if I put 1 weapon on each one of them.
And just out of curiosity, what countermeasure did you add? Sprints, flanks? What was it?
No, I had 4. I had my Hydra flag was my countermeasure ship. It was my healer and my countermeasure ship.
Right.
And then I had 4 assault Hydras that had no countermeasures at all. And they wouldn't stay together. They just do the whirly dance on the map, like they couldn't find a target. And then I took and put 2 of them, I put a sprint on each of them, and 2 of them I put a phalanx on each of them. And all of a sudden the fleet just stayed together. And it's all
okay. So you mix was 2 sprints, 2 phalanxes, and even then they stayed together. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I put in I did an insurrection launcher because Templar is the one that came up with that and let me know. And then I was actually testing out if I could put the concussive Gatling gun with the Aegis CIC, and if my launchers would still fire, and they actually do. So that was a neat little thing. Didn't quite help with the repair times, but I think right now I did it was 120. It was an hour 24 minutes for the first target, and then I was doing 20 minutes damage per target. That was just on auto, not going in. I wasn't even looking at the target.
Yeah, I'm driving my Hydras and autoing the Buckies and alternating, but even when I auto with the Buckies on the elite target, I retreat once or twice. And if I don't, I can finish 1, maybe 2 targets. If I retreat, I can do 4.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in that same zone, although I can do a few more than that as long as I'm retreating.
Yeah, with the Hydras, if I drive, I can do about 10 targets. Then I dock to repair the flagship.
But no.
What are you using on for the CICs run?
Mercy on flag and Siege Aegis on the other 4.
So you're up to 4 Aegis. Okay,
that's what I'm doing too. I tried doing the 2 Aegis and 2 capacitors, and it was just kind of weird to drive them like that. Because
it's hard.
It's hard. 2 months ago, and I was very disappointed. At least for my play style, didn't work.
Yeah, the capacitors are very difficult to deal with. They seem powerful, but you're getting splashed from all the weapons, so they need to be much further apart, and you need to take things from different angles in order to get them to work. And is it worth it?
What do you mean?
Well, you're taking such a defense debuff.
Oh, on the hit, right? Gotcha.
And everything's doing splash. That doesn't. It's tricky to drive. You need to drive them from different angles in order to make it work. And it seems like it was just a bear to drive.
With the Hydras?
Yeah, with the capacitors. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, with the Aegis, it's a lot easier. You don't really need to worry, and you can still outrange everything.
Well, if you want, you can. If you throw on the concussive Gatling gun on every one of them, even if you outrange your launchers with the concussive Gatling gun, the launchers will still fire.
Are they firing?
Unless you're on the very, very. What's that?
Are they firing when the Gatling gun starts firing, or are you having to drive in closer to get them in range?
And I auto it.
Yeah, that's good to know, because I may have to swap those on there to keep them together, and maybe I can start autoing those.
Because I saw someone's got a call. That would be Hefe. Yeah, I had seen what the hell had run it? Oh, it was Vengeful One had one on his anti-ship, and I was like, oh, that's a slick idea. I wonder if it'll work across the board, and put it on, because I wanted to try running the four Aegis behind the blood, and I didn't know if I could get the launchers to fire on auto without running into crap, and I just took that and tested it, and I was like, oh, that works. Now the weird thing is though, is when I do it on auto, I did better with the 2 Siege CICs and 2 Aegises. So I don't know if maybe it's something that's a function of autoing it or what.
2 capacitors? You said Siege. Okay, yeah. Capacitors, okay.
So wait, you said the Garwood? Is that what you said?
No, the concussive Gatling gun.
Concussive Gatling, yeah, okay.
I thought that was Conqueror only. Isn't that the one that came with the Revenge?
No, that's the one that came with the with the Revenge.
Yeah, it's CGG.
That's the one that came with the Revenge.
Yeah,
that came with the Revenge.
Before they started locking weapons to specific fleet types, so that one can be put on any ship.
I'm confused though, because that only has a range of 68.
Look at the secondary
mode.
See, I'm looking at it on Huggies, so it just doesn't show the secondary.
Yeah, secondary mode has longer range. It doesn't work for remote targeting, but in this case, you don't care.
Exactly.
So what's the secondary range?
104. Shit, I don't remember.
Wow, and they still fire?
Yep.
Wow. Interesting. Because that's what 99 on. With the
it's like a 5. It's like a little bit of a 5 range difference, and it's just taking advantage of their AI mechanic, because they have such a shitty driving AI that you creep in more than you need to fire. So
by default, what happens when you're autoing is the ships, they'll stop when they are within 95% of the max range to make sure they are in range, right? So 95% of 104, it's pretty much the range of the launchers, and that's why the launchers fire.
Be my luck, it would stop for whatever reason at distance and just sit there and be taking fire.
Oh, you gotta run the same hack script that George.
Yep. Yep. I run both the Kermie hack and the Ewok hack, so you know.
There we go.
And if you want the latest
hacks.
copies, yeah, and if you want the latest copies, you just got to go to somebody in PNLS and they'll get you set up.
Okay.
No, that's an SDS7 hack.
Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Do we have anything else that's fit for prime time on the YouTubes?
I got nothing.
Okay. Alrighty. I was just seeing if anybody had anything. Alrighty. Well, I guess we'll see you all on Wednesday night, and I will post the link. I think are we full right now, or are we? Yeah, we're full at the moment, but I'll go ahead and post this anyways.
Well, I'm glad to be getting off. There'll be a spot open.
Oh, you're leaving the show, or?
Yeah, Dr. Death is gonna diss us. See how it is.
Okay. I thought he was being overly personable, but yeah. So, alrighty. Anybody have any parting words, and we can proceed to the after show.
Keep at it. You got a few more days to go.
Yep, long raid. I don't know what the hell we're gonna do about resources, but
yeah, the revolution will not be televised.
So you can buy them in the store.
Yeah, but
isn't that why you do the raid? I do the raid just for the resources.
6 days.
I love buying Titanicals.
Yeah, that's true. That's the only reason I do the raid is to buy titanium, so I don't have to hit the 85s with my Phoenixes.
Yeah. It's just repair time, isn't it?
Yeah. It's all good. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us, and we're full right now. But if you'd like to join us later, once Dr. Death joins or leaves, and hope your raid goes wonderfully. And talk to y'all later.
Good luck, everybody. Have a